All right, definitely not the news the 49ers wanted to hear on this Wednesday as they begin the practice week to get ready for the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. And in all likelihood, Brock Purdy will not be available to play in this game. In fact, Kyle Shanahan called it a long shot that Purdy would be able to play, and he did not rule out the possibility that this could be a multi-week injury. It's a I shouldn't say that. It's a toe injury. And Shanahan said that turf toe is kind of a generic term. And so he kind of went back and forth on what to label it. But it is an injury to the toe that puts him in jeopardy of missing multiple games, as I said. So the 49ers, in all likelihood, will be turning to Mac Jones, the guy that had spent 4 seasons in the NFL. They strongly considered him with the number 3 overall pick in the 2021 draft. Played 3 years with the Patriots, 1 year in Jacksonville as a backup, and now he comes to the 49ers on a 2-year, $7.3 million contract, and he is being pressed into duty, it appears, a lot sooner than the 49ers would have hoped. Obviously, whenever you sign a backup quarterback, you hope he's never pressed into duty, but that is the case right here. Just 1 week in to the season, week 2, Mac Jones could be making his first start with the 49ers. So just to bring you up on the injury situation, Juwan Jennings has the shoulder injury. He's not going to practice on this Wednesday, but Shanahan did not rule out the possibility that he would be available to play in this game. The others on the injury report, Christian McCaffrey not scheduled to practice due to a calf and then also rest. McCaffrey stood at his locker during the open locker room period and basically said that there are no physical issues with him. He came out of that game okay. We shall see. 31 touches in that game, 22 carries and 9 receptions. Trent Williams is resting for this game, also has a knee/rest. Who else? Yetur Gross-Matos is not practicing due to a knee, which has been something that's been kind of chronic and bothered him for a while. Nick Bosa takes a vet day. And so then the limited guys, Ben Bart's limited in practice with the knee and elbow, and the rookies, Jordan Watkins and the running back, Jordan James, they are limited. Watkins with the high ankle sprain as he's coming back and almost back all the way, and then James with the finger. The 49ers added, of course, Kendrick Bourne to the roster, to the 53-man roster. Today is his first day of practice. I asked him, is it asking too much to be signed on a Monday and then play on that Sunday? And he says it's totally up to him. He says he feels like it's not too much to ask. He comes in with a knowledge of the system, of the building, and certainly of Mac Jones. They were teammates together with the New England Patriots. So he feels like he has a head start above any other player who might be coming in at the beginning of a week to try to get ready for a game that's 6 days away. And here we are, 4 days away from the 49ers week 2 game against the New Orleans Saints. So a possibility that Kendrick Bourne will be available. Also the possibility that Juwan Jennings will be available. So no structural damage, it sounds like, to that shoulder for Jennings. And now it's a matter of pain tolerance, range of motion, and whether there's a fear that if he plays, that injury could be aggravated or exacerbated. So that's where the 49ers are as they head into this game. We'll talk a little bit more about Brock Purdy and what this means. But also Eddie Pinheiro, the kicker, a veteran guy who's bounced around a little bit, but remains the number 4 most accurate kicker in NFL history. And he did say that he had some chances to go other places in training camp and here at the beginning of the season. But ultimately, he just kind of wanted to see what was out there, wait for the right opportunity. And now he has it. He says he has a really good chance, and looking forward to this opportunity with the 49ers. He said that even on Monday, he had the chances to either go to the Falcons or go to the 49ers. He weighed the pros and cons of both situations and ultimately decided that the 49ers would be the best spot for him. Jake Moody, his time was up with the 49ers. I think that was probably, I don't want to, how can I say this? The body language and everything else that Jake Moody gave off over the last couple of weeks, last 3 weeks since the last preseason game, pretty much um, led one to believe that he was all in favor of a fresh start as well. After the final preseason game, when he missed a kick and got jeered by the fans at Levi Stadium. Then, of course, after the game or during the game on Sunday, week one, where he clangs the 27 yarder off the upright, it was time for Jake Moody. And my guess is he knew it was time. He wanted it to be time. It just didn't seem like it was fun being Jake Moody and a member of the 49ers. So Jake Moody was released. I don't think the 49ers had any option as much as they wanted to make that work. It just wasn't going to work. So Eddie Pinheiro comes in. He's a veteran, says he's been kicking regularly 3 days a week to stay sharp for this opportunity that he knew would come. He's still a young guy. On September 13th, he turns 30 years old. And so, that is not by any means over the hill for a kicker. So Eddie Pinheiro comes in and will get to work with John Weeks, the long snapper, get to work with Thomas Morstead, the holder, and get to work with his new old special teams coordinator, Brant Boyer. So Eddie Pinheiro seems to have a lot of confidence coming in. He's made a lot of kicks in his career. He's actually, been better with field goals than he has been with extra points, probably missing more extra points than he should over his career, but converting a very high rate of his field goal opportunities. Okay, because it's such big news, let's go back to Brock Purdy. So the injuries that occurred, one was over by the sideline, the toe injury. Kyle Shanahan said he believes it was in the second quarter, and he was aware of it at the time. And because of the adrenaline and everything else, Purdy was able to finish that game, and he ended up pulling off his fourth quarter comeback victory as a member of the 49ers. 3 of those, interestingly enough, have come in the postseason. But he stayed with it. Did that injury have anything to do with the interceptions that he threw? I don't know, but those were 2 balls that he kind of floated out there. So he had the shoulder situation where Jerron Reed kind of drove him into the ground, and he was playing with a banged up left shoulder, and then later the toe injury. And again, Kyle Shanahan didn't get into the specifics. All they have to reveal is the left shoulder. If it's a quarterback, they have to reveal which shoulder it is. And with the toe injury, basically all they have to do, the requirement from the NFL is just to say toe injury. And whether it's the turf toe, which the way I think of turf toe is just a hyperextended toe, usually the big toe. Well, that's what it is, the big toe. I think the hyperextended big toe. Shanahan didn't get into any of that, but he certainly didn't rule out that that's what is ailing Brock Purdy. And so, I mean, it's not an easy injury to come back from, and thus that's why Kyle Shanahan said that it could be a multi-week injury. And again, a long shot to play this week. 49ers are looking into adding a quarterback. I don't know how far they're going to go down that road, but Adrian Martinez is the 49ers practice squad quarterback. He's only been here for a couple of weeks after he was in camp with the New York Jets. He comes in and would have to learn enough of a portion of the playbook to be able to get through a game if he were called into action. One of the things that kind of interesting that Christian McCaffrey said in talking about like Brian Robinson and his acclamation to the 49ers offense is that sometimes it's easier to learn the offense if you're doing it in a game plan by game plan basis. So in other words, when you report for the offseason or training camp, you'll learn the entire offense. You learn it frontwards, backwards, you learn it all. And so it's this kind of overwhelming thing. But once the season starts, the teams do not have the entire playbook in their game plan. They'll whittle it down to only the stuff that's relevant for what they plan to run in the upcoming game. So from that standpoint, maybe that's an advantage for Kendrick Bourne, for Adrian Martinez to learn the offense, and for Brian Robinson to learn the offense, basically game plan to game plan, because there will be some carryover plays from one week to the next. Of course, George Kittle went on injured reserve on Tuesday, he's out for at least 4 games. The 49ers brought in Messiah Swinson. He was with the Green Bay Packers, second-year guy in the NFL, a big guy, 6'7". He was signed to the practice squad, and so I spoke a little bit to him in the locker room. There is the opportunity for him to get some action in the practice squad, but could be elevated. Probably the first option of a player off the tight end position to be elevated would be Braden Willis. We'll see. The 49ers might make some more moves as this week goes on. But now once you get to Wednesday and later in the week, it becomes a little bit more difficult because the work week, the practice week is quickly getting away from them. So look for the 49ers to use 2 tight ends to basically do the same thing that George Kittle gives the 49ers. From the blocking standpoint, it's Luke Farrell. From the hands and receiving standpoint, it's Jake Tonjes. So that's the quick update. Once again, Brock Purdy, be prepared for him to miss some action, certainly Sunday against the New Orleans Saints, and how much more after that remains to be seen. Don't know quite yet if it's to the extent that they would consider placing him on injured reserve. Again, like Kittle, who was placed on injured reserve, it means you're ineligible for 4 games. And so Purdy, I'm sure the 49ers are hoping that he doesn't have to miss 4 games. But at this point, when Kyle Shanahan laid it out there as far as the possibility that he's going to miss multiple weeks, maybe that's not entirely off the table either. So that's a quick rundown for the 49ers injury report as they hit the practice field on Wednesday to begin their preparations to face the New Orleans Saints. And they're going to be doing it on Sunday, it sounds like, with Mac Jones at quarterback. So thanks for watching this video. And that is it for now.